Today, we are going to be talking about the Troll Pasta Iceberg. And I think you're probably thinking, what's a troll pasta? Well, if you know creepypastas, then you probably have a good idea what troll pastas are. They're basically just badly written stories with intentional bad grammar and cliched creepypastas like hyper-realistic blood and being extremely detailed on the most minute details like, I ran through this door at 2.3 seconds. And just overall bad plots, bad characters for, you know, funnies. Many of these stories are just creepypasta rejects and, my god, they have no moral boundaries. These motherfuckers would write about details on murders, rape, a lot of rape for some reason, I don't understand why, and just horrible other things that should not just be written at all. And if for some reason that intrigues you, there is one particular site where you can find any of these stories, and that is the Troll Pasta Wiki. The Troll Pasta Wiki acts as sort of the hub of where all troll pastas are. Most of these stories come from other social media sites like 4chan, Reddit, Twitter maybe. So with all that being said, we're not going to traditionally explain these stories because honestly, there really isn't much to like explain regarding the background and all that kind of stuff. So what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna do a sort of retelling of these stories. And there's a lot of stories in this video, so most of these stories aren't gonna be the full retelling, unfortunately. Some of these stories are literal novels. They are so goddamn long, I don't know why. And we're gonna skip the ones that I honestly think aren't that funny or get the video demonetized. But first, this video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, which happens to be one of the best mobile games of all time. Raid Shadow Legends has a lot of new characters. There are over 600 characters. Each of these characters have unique abilities and storylines with their own history from the world of Teleria. Now, do you like elves? I would want to talk about the High Elves. And these High Elves in Raid Shadow Legends are pretty epic. They formed a civilization around 10,000 years ago. Then Soroth got into the elves' heads and made the Dark Elves. And these Dark Elves are obsessed with power. This led to a huge epic civil war, which resulted in the Dark Elves being exiled, and the whole kingdom was rebuilt as best as they could. Now, the Kingdom of Aravia is the best country in the realm of Teleria, and there's a lot of new stuff happening in Raid Shadow Legends. They bring out 5 badass looking characters, along with overhauling the Champion Vault, and they've got a lot of new smaller updates as well. Also, Raid is running a huge series of Summer Splash events for the whole month, where you can get your hands on some incredible skins for everyone's favorite dwarf, Trunda. But wait, there's more. Raid is currently running a special Deliana chase event where you can get your hands on the amazing Deliana, a brand new legendary champion from the High Elves faction. All you have to do is log in and play Raid for 7 days between now and July 28th, and you'll get Deliana for free. This is the best time to get started in Raid, and if you click my link in the description or scan my QR code on the screen, you'll get a unique bonus that is worth $30. We're talking a free epic champion, Vergus, 200k silver, 1 energy refill, and 1 XP boost and 1 ancient shard, so you can summon awesome champions as soon as you get in the game. All of this treasure will be waiting for you, and it's easy. Just click the link in the description, and I'll see you in the game. Patrixia, I think that's how you pronounce it, is a character from the Troll Pasta Multi-Universe MCU, whatever the fuck, and he takes the shape of this creepy-ass, hyper-realistic Patrick photo that you've probably seen. He's hell-bent on destroying the universe, and he conveniently wrote his origin story for us, so we're gonna take a look at that right now.
Hello, this is Patrick's, and this is my pasta.
So once I was heading ready for pony noobs until a majestic pony with its wings said, "Come ride with me." Then I said, "Okies." Then we went off. Then I noticed that the pony was an epic red rum drum monster. Oh! With epic alazotris. So I killed it by licking his legs because I'm that deadly. The end. Thanks, bye. Sassy Mama, the hungry blood lover, literally sounds like Carmen Winstead. It's literally a carbon copy of Carmen Winstead, minus the chainmail stuff.
I am Sassy Mama, the hungry blood lover. You can just call me Sassy. I was a 17-year-old girl when I was killed. I was brutally murdered in the woods the night of a party at my friend's. It was Slenderman's woods. He saved me, brought me back, and I became a creepypasta. Here's me. The day after I died, I wanted to get revenge. I found my murderer and killed him way worse than he killed me. I hung him by his feet and cut open every single vein he had and let him drain. All I did was laugh. He screamed and screamed for help, but nobody could hurt him. We were in Slenderman's woods. Nobody dares to go out there unless you were drunk. I can never thank Slenderman enough for what he done for me. I love all creepypastas more than anything. Don't try anything stupid. I have a huge crush on Jeff. Slenderman is like my father. They are all my family now. Never will I ever trade them for anybody.
In 2013, Sega was planning on releasing their new Sonic game since the Sonic Advance series and the poorly Sonic 06. The game was similar to the current new Super Mario Bros. Wii. The game was called Sonic 4 Episode 3. I was given the game. Instead of the disc saying S4E3 or Sonic 4 Episode 3, it had Sanic in red marker. I thought, Sanic? That meme of the blue blur? I inserted it into my Dreamcast 2. It had the original graphics. It even had a classic Sonic. It was normal until I reached the zone "Don't go here." The enemies had tentacles as weapons. Until I found a chest. Sonic looked at it for a moment before opening it. A monster that could only have come from a Lovecraft story popped out. It filled Sonic's ass with its tentacles, until it began to rape him. When the rape scene was done, Sonic fell down. When Sonic stood up, his arms were straightened out. His shoes were blobs with color thrown on them. "Sonic? Gotta go fast!" it replied, as it ran fast without me controlling it. Sonic discovered a pit. He jumped in the pit. The game over screen came up. The Sonic file was gone. It was now Tails. I picked Tails and went to what the game dubbed Green Hill Zone, Gren Hill Zonun. Tails had a boss battle with Sonic Hedgehog. Sonic's tongue came out, it stuck to Tails' head and started sucking. After a while, Tails fell down, and Sonic walked up to him. The tentacles jumped out of the hedgehog and entered the fox's body, changing him to an equally horrible form. The two walked around the zone like zombies, violently killing anything they could find, until they went to the real boss battle with Robotnik. Robotnik was scared of Sonic and Tails. Both immobilized Robotnik with their tongues and began to sodomize and rape him with them. Some of the images will never be forgotten. Robotnik became Rubutnik, and the deformed trio became skeletons. The game over screen came up, but it was game over. I felt kinda weird. Gotta go fast, cause I'm Sonic! Sonic the Hedgehog! Mario says the fuck word. This story comes from the channel Onesie Plays. He's a YouTube animator who has a Let's Play channel with his friends, and while playing Super Mario 64, they had a bit where they kinda made fun of gaming creepypastas, and they kinda made one up on the spot.
Mamma mia, I got fucking killed! Said Mario as he walked outside.
Then the player says, "Did Mario swear?"
Did I just hear that from the video?
That's my creepypasta. Mario says the fuck word.
I wish that was a creepypasta. Was
One
that?
night I was playing Super Mario 64
He said a naughty word.
while traveling
The
through
end.
the dire docks upon my usual business. Mario turned his head in a 40-degree angle and said, "Shh, fuck."
Then my mother comes into the room and says, "Are you swearing?" I said it was Mario, not me.
My mother grabbed me by the ear. She threw me into the bathroom.
She threw me into the game.
She fed me hair
She
shampoo
threw me into
for
the
hours.
bathroom. I went, oh!
She jumped on my face.
She did the ground pound.
Bob EXE is one of the many Sonic EXE parodies that are going to be in this iceberg chart. And for like the 3 people that don't know what Sonic EXE is, it's basically just a really shitty creepypasta where some guy gets a haunted cartridge of Sonic the Hedgehog, and the Sonic is apparently like evil and kills Tails, Knuckles, and Robotnik and all that, and he becomes God and whatever. So the protagonist for Bob EXE is a really big Lego fan. And I mean really obsessed. In the beginning of the story, he details his obsession with Legos with the following. I collect all sorts of Lego sets. Everything from classic Legoland Space to the Lego Movie. I've got complete sets of 16 for every series of minifigures, plus 2 Mr. Gold minifigures that I ordered off of eBay for $9,999.98 each. So the narrator talks about Lego games, and while playing the Lego Movie video game, he receives a letter in the mail. Zach, I've had enough of this. I can't handle it anymore. Oh, it is too much for me. I had to get rid of this somehow, but instead of just destroying it myself or just selling it on eBay, I thought giving it to you was a much better option. Please don't make me regret this decision by doing something stupid that would end up being written about in some lame, overly cliched creepypasta. And yeah, right after that, Bob EXE follows Sonic EXE to a T. The narrator gets a blank disc which contains a cursed version of a Lego game, specifically Lego Universe. There's hyper-realistic blood and a rusty logo on boot up. There's 4 characters to choose from, and each of those characters die a gruesome death due to the main character, which is, Bob. And as the narrator plays through this game, the game becomes more violent and glitchy. And yeah, so Bob just torments and kills each of these 4 characters, which does in fact scar the narrator. So the story ends on this note. I was kicked back to the character select screen by the time I was finished ranting, though I could have sworn that Bob's expression turned rather disgruntled just before the screen change. Then it turned out that I didn't need to shut off the game myself because my computer spontaneously shut off on its own. I couldn't turn it back on, so I started muttering curses under my breath because now I'm pretty sure that this game was so bad that it broke my computer. I turned around and pulled out my cell phone to call the local computer repair shop. Then I heard a voice right behind me, barely louder than a whisper. Just imagine. I turned around to see where the voice came from, and what I saw, sitting on my computer desk, staring right at me, was a Bob minifigure, smiling with blood under its eyes. I'm just imagining how much money I could make by auctioning it off on eBay. Oh, Jesus Christ, we're talking about this one. So, Shrek is Love, Shrek is Life. God, I'm sorry, I'm kind of struggling on this story because I used to retell this shit all the time in middle school and it was fucking cringe, you know what I mean? Shrek is Love, Shrek is Life is this infamous green text story from 4chan where it basically talks about someone who loves Shrek a little too much. They fantasize about Shrek wanting to suck his ogre cock or whatever, and then all of a sudden Shrek comes into his bedroom and this happens.
I lay in bed and it's really cold. A warmth is moving towards me. I feel something touch me. It's Shrek. I'm so happy. He whispers in my ear, "This is my swamp." He grabs me with his powerful ogre hands and puts me on my hands and knees. I'm ready. I spread my ass cheeks for Shrek. He penetrates my butthole. It hurts so much, but I do it for Shrek. I can feel my butt tearing as my eyes start to water. I push against his force. I want to please Shrek. He roars a mighty roar as he fills my butt with his love. My dad walks in. Shrek looks him straight in the eye and says, "It's all ogre now." Shrek leaves through my window. Shrek is love. Shrek is life.
Yeah, so for those of you who didn't know about this, I'm so sorry. You know, reading this one, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't like going out of its way to act goofy and all that, so let me know what you think. Take a listen. The following is the diary of an unknown doctor who worked during the turbulent times of World War III. This diary was found by an EWU representative captain near the site of a former hospital in western Pennsylvania. June 27th, 2093. The bombings keep coming. It seems like they come every minute now, every second. I guess the EWU is picking up the pace. The hospital is getting busier and busier. More patients are getting the disease. Further testing is required. The radiation treatment centers are becoming full. Only elderly, young, and women are permitted. June 28th, 2093. The EWU attacked the hospital today. They killed a young nurse and a 27-year-old female patient. They infected 3 more with the disease. The usual symptoms of vomit and organ rot have shown in the patients. I have heard that President Catherine Withers may be surrendering to the EWU. This would make things a whole lot easier. June 31st, 2093. The EWU army broke in again. Most of the medical staff was killed, but I managed to survive. The patients were left unharmed. 147 of my patients have had their organs completely rotted out. Following autopsy, there was no organ matter left in the body. July 1st, 2093. All the patients have died of the disease. Vice President Jones has declared a national emergency. The radiation is really bad. I am showing symptoms of radiation poisoning, and I expect to live only 1 more week. The hospital was almost completely destroyed by another bomb. July 3rd, 2093. I spent the last day sleeping. The radiation sickness is taking a toll on me. One of the creatures escaped the lab room. I completely forgot about them. It killed a male doctor and a female assistant. The creature was instantly killed by me. I have heard that Vice President Jones will give the Federated Republic of America to the EWU. July 4th, 2093. The country's birthday is now also its death day. I can feel my eyes becoming heavy. A loud explosion just went off outside the hospital. I can feel the collapse of the building. I don't think I will make... Oh my god. Oh my god! The creature! Bleeding out! Deformed man! I swear to God, reading this story, it sounds like a literal 8-year-old wrote this. I don't know why the fuck I covered this story, but here you go. A kid named John Cena saw Rainbow Steve. John Cena was shocked.
Who's that?
He said,
I is Rainbow Steve. Wanna hear me, Dorothy?
Yeah, sure.
Said John Cena.
Again, Steve was a bad entity and was seen by a player called Chicken Den, but was weak at the time, so it made a lot of clones. But each clone was a different color. Then I came and ate it all up, but they came back and promised to be good. They decided to protect a thing in Minecraft to stop me getting them. Like Red Steve protect life, Blue Steve protect water, Red Steve protect fire and snow on. So that is why Steve protects biomes. And I will eat you.
And Rainbow Steve ate him. That's right. Rainbow Steve ate Rainbow Steve laughed and laughed, but suddenly, thwap!
Gotcha! Take this kid back to where he belongs.
Sure thing, Steve.
Yay! I'm going to school!
No.
I like math.
Rainbow Steves arrive at school.
Yay! I love to learn.
You should learn grammar then.
Say that to yourself, fool.
Rainbow Steve roasts Herobrine. Herobrine gets triggered. Hashtag triggered.
Shut up, guys.
Okay, BTW, I hope we get bullied.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Michael Jackson breaks through school window.
Hi, are you a bully?
Yes, I am.
Yay! Bully us, please. I've been waiting for this my whole life.
Okay, you asked for it, little man. Michael Jackson, Ouija's Rainbow Steve, and Alex Brine. Hey, that not kind. You know, I'm mad. Michael Jackson moonwalks on Herobrine. Herobrine gets KO'd. No! Yes, take that, nerd.
That was fun.
You may have heard the old theory about an infinite number of monkeys with an infinite number of typewriters could type the complete works of Shakespeare. Well, here's the part you probably haven't heard. Someone actually tried to do this. Danish scientist Lars Hansen took this theory very seriously. As luck would have it, his job was monkey cloner at the University of Copenhagen. He had spent the last few days just cloning monkeys non-stop, knowing that Monkey Infinity would soon be arriving. This one! It's this one! He yelled excitedly to his assistant Noah. Oh my god! Said Noah, his beautiful eyes widening. 3 it was in front of them, monkey number infinity. And then the monkeys became self-aware and realized that there were more of them than the humans. They decided that they would kill one human traveling around the globe, led to Monkey Infinity. Monkey Infinity gestured towards monkey number 289994 and number 9011. Kill. Monkey Infinity said, and then Lars, human number 289994, and Noah, human number 9011, were both dead. Monkey Infinity laughed with satisfaction, knowing that he would never have to kill anyone himself, as there was no human infinity. So just remember, there is a monkey out there with your number on it.
Hello, I have no eyes. If you don't copy and paste this to 20 places in an hour, you will suffer my curse. You will wake up and I will be in your bed. I will have a knife, then I will disappear. You will then have my 7th day curse. Day 1, while you lie asleep, I will hide your socks throughout your house. When you go to find them, they will be hidden even better by me. Day 2, me and the heron will go into your kitchen while you're not in your house and make a really big mess. Day 3, I will leave all of your food out and it will spoil and you will be hungry or pay a lot of money. Day 4, I will hide under your bed and try to tell you knock-knock jokes while you try to fall asleep. If you fall asleep, I will wake you up. Day 5, me and 100 ghoulish horrific ghosts will fly around your room in a massive vortex and steal your soul, subjecting you to unending horror. Day 6, I will jump out of doorways to scare you. Day 7, I will hit you in the head with a book really hard. Hurry, go copy-paste.
One day I woke up and saw my hair was on fire. It was a normal day. I wake up, go to work, come back, then sleep, same old thing. But in work, people were talking about a murder in the area for a girl named Anya. Witnesses saw her with a girl who no one saw her face. All they saw was her wearing a grayish hottie with blue jeans. That was all the information given about the older girl. A thought ran through my mind, what if that was my son or my wife or even me? I have to keep them safe. Later that evening, I researched this murder to see a picture come up. It was horrible to even see the girl's body. It looked like it was ripped all over her. Her guts were hanging out of her and she face had a grin carved across its face. The image made me vomit. I said to myself, who could do such a thing to a little girl? Later on that night, I couldn't sleep. Just that image glued to my head. I needed to keep my family safe. My son, Chris, walks to his school. What if he was killed? Or my wife, if she goes to town and is found dead? It was all by this girl. The next day I took my son to school. Before I went to work, I looked at time and said, Chris, you stay safe now. After what happened to this girl, you have to stay close to your friends, okay? He looked at me and said back, Daddy, don't speak about her. She's no good. Then he opened the car door and stepped outside and left. I can't tell you how much I was wondering about this. What the fuck does he mean by that? So I drove to work worrying about my son now more than anything. If he is with or around this girl helping her, I don't know what I will do. I thought to myself. Later that day, I went to pick up Chris and I saw him just standing there looking into nothing. Chris, are you okay? I asked him. He just ignored me, got in the car and we went home. After we went home, Chris just went straight to his room and closed the door. I was really getting worried at that point. My son was acting strange around me. My wife walked to me and said, what shall we do? I did not say a word. Later that night, I heard moans one after the other from Chris's room. I slowly walked over to his room. The sight was brutal. Chris's arms were broken. His stomach had an R carved into it and he was losing a lot of blood. I grabbed his blanket and covered the R-shaped carving on his stomach. Mary, come here. I called for my wife. She never came, so I left Chris for a couple of seconds to find her. Mary, where are you? I ran down the stairs just to see Mary hanged, cut, killed. My wife was there in front of me, dead, fucking dead because of this person, this thing, this monster. I ran back to Chris to stop the blood from flowing anymore, but again, I was too late. I watched her kill my son, my only son, and what I heard her say was evil. Sleep, don't wake up. After that, she slit his neck like paper, looked at me, then vanished. I hope my family is the last family she will ever kill again. My name is Frank Green. I hope she gets caught and killed for what she has done to me and everyone else. Yours truly, Frank Green.
This is my first creepypasta, and I try to leave out as many cliches as I can. If you use my creepypasta on Haunted Gaming, then please give me a shout out. So I was on my computer searching for cool glitches to do on SNES games, and I found a glitch called Aladdin is Dead. I clicked on the picture for it and saw that his eyes were gone, no blood flowing from it, just jet black where his eyes should be. I said, cool, I will try it on my emulator. I did the glitch and my game froze, so I said, I knew it wouldn't work. So I went and played Super Mario World and beat Bowser. I said, I want to play Aladdin. So I did, and when I started the game, I noticed Aladdin had no eyes, just jet black like the glitch said so. I thought, hey, the glitch worked. But I had no idea it was evil. I started the game and the monkey, I forgot his name, BTW, looked like an imp. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is whenever I would jump on someone, they decomposed, and then I would beat the level, and instead of the genie showing up, the devil would appear, and the wheel would be a pentagram. So I spun it and I landed on one of the points, and the devil started chanting a very unsettling ritual. It sounded like, and then as when I turned off the game, he said, "No, you're mine now." Then my door slammed closed by itself, and the devil stuck his hand on my screen and said,
"Your soul is mine."
Then he started to suck my soul. Once he finished, my power went out, and let's say I am a ginger without the red hair. Evil Kermix is an evil version of Kermix. He is eviler than Patrick's. If you encounter him in an alleyway doing that face, run. Just run. He will kill you if you make eye contact with him. He killed evil Patrick's 7,378,387 times. He's right behind me. So you're with your honey and you're making out when the phone rings. You answer it and the voice is, "What are you doing with my daughter?" You tell your girl and she said, "My dad is dead." Then who was phone?
I was in 6th grade and I was a big fan of SpongeBob. I had gotten home from school and tuned into Nickelodeon. A bumper came on that said that this was a previously unaired episode of the show, and I got excited. The intro played as normal, and the title of the episode appeared. It was called The Destruction of Bikini Bottom. It starts at Patrick's rock and shows the back of Patrick sitting on his chair, watching nothing but static. It cuts to SpongeBob knocking on his door, and he comes in. SpongeBob asks Patrick if he wants to go jellyfishing, but he doesn't answer. SpongeBob repeats his question, and still, Patrick gives no response. He goes closer, and as he does, the screen starts going red. As SpongeBob is about to touch him, Patrick says, "I can't take it anymore." The scene then transitions to the Krusty Krab, and Squidward is at the cash register. Patrick enters with a flamethrower. To my shock, he lit the restaurant on fire. Patrick then locks the door from the outside, preventing anyone from escaping. He then runs away, leaving a picture of the burning Krusty Krab. I hid my face under a pillow as I hear the deafening screams of the customers yelling for help. It then slowly shows the customers, Squidward, and Mr. Krabs' corpses with realistic burns. SpongeBob comes in, appalled at what had just happened. He asks,
"What kind of monster could have done this?"
as he walks through the charred remains of the kitchen. Patrick somehow teleports behind SpongeBob and says, "I did." He then takes a butcher's knife from the cutting board. SpongeBob starts to panic and says,
"Patrick, why?"
Patrick's voice becomes very distorted. Then he says, "Now that you found out the truth, you must die." Patrick then cuts a circular hole in SpongeBob's chest, and it starts spewing blood. I started to cry. As SpongeBob starts to bleed out, Patrick takes SpongeBob's spatula and makes a Krabby Patty, replacing the patty with the chunk of SpongeBob's body. It shows SpongeBob's first-person view, and then Patrick takes a bite out of the Krabby Patty he had just made. The last thing SpongeBob sees is Patrick's hand coming towards his hand, coming towards his face, and then he twists it right off. Patrick then eats SpongeBob's face, along with the rest of the Krabby Patty. The bubble transition plays, and Patrick then appears on screen. He has no eyes, and he then takes the same knife he used to kill SpongeBob. He then throws it at the screen, and I ducked. Patrick then slowly says, "We can all escape, Ethan." He then says, "Only if we do this," and takes out a pistol. He points it at his head and pulls the trigger. Bits of his brain and blood were flying everywhere, and then the screen faded to black. The episode then ended. Do you remember those old SpongeBob episodes which some of us used to watch in 1999 from season 1? Well, recently a secret episode has been discovered from that time period. The other day, I was searching through my computer when I come across a notepad document deep within System 32. All that was printed was one website link, followed by the following gibberish. Having not a single clue of what it meant, I continued by putting the site link, which I won't tell you in case anyone out there is freaking stupid enough to try it, into my web browser. It took me to a site where there was a black background and a huge button. It had the same text on it that was on the notepad document. I clicked it and it brought up a download link. The file wanted to be downloaded was called spongecry.avi. As crazy as I am, I went ahead and downloaded it. Big mistake. The movie clip was 6 minutes and 4 seconds long. It started out as any SpongeBob episode would, except the color was distorted, and when he got to playing the flute with his nose, it immediately went to the title screen. It lasted about 2.5 seconds. It didn't show who the writers and directors were. The episode started out inside SpongeBob's house. It showed SpongeBob sitting in his red chair. The strange thing was, all of the other furniture was gone. SpongeBob was crying very hard, but it didn't sound like anything it does when SpongeBob normally cries. It sounded like a real human cry, but it was still different. It sounded so real and intense. Then the camera zoomed really close in on his face, but it's the kind of zoom as if it was being videotaped by a real person. Then the camera zoomed out to show a rotting corpse of Gary laying on the floor in front of him. It was very disturbing. Gary was absolutely mauled to death. His eyes were laying on the floor. His shell was cracked to reveal a very gross image of the inside of Gary, which looked a whole lot more like what would have really happened in the episode where Gary loses his shell. SpongeBob suddenly got out of his chair and ran straight forward. And then the episode stops moving for about 1 second. Then it goes to black for 2 seconds. Then it comes back with SpongeBob's face pressed against the camera, with his mouth exploded open and eyes black, and a deafeningly loud scream. I jolted up and turned down my volume, and then the camera starts moving around like it was at an earthquake. You can't even tell what's going on. It worse than anything I have ever seen. The clip then goes to black for 1 minute and 38 seconds. It comes back inside the Krusty Krab. It was dead silent. All of a sudden, the same face was pressed against the camera appeared, but this time, the scream was literally deafeningly loud, but it only lasted for about 1/4 of a second. Then, for the rest of the episode, it goes back to SpongeBob crying in the chair, but after every 10 seconds, SpongeBob just gets a little bit more decayed, and the sound gets a little bit more distorted. By the end, all there is left is static and screaming. Then you can see SpongeBob running again in the background of the static. But for the last 4 seconds, there's this text on the screen that reads, "One-timed action will be badly." Exactly that, as if it was written by a 5-year-old. After the clip finished, my computer turned off by an unknown force. After seeing this video, I have never been the same. I have been more sad and more uncomfortable than ever before. It has haunted my mind all the time. I regret downloading that video in the first place. I wish I could go back in time. No! This is too goddamn long. It's about some vampire named Ebony who wants to fuck Draco in Hogwarts, okay? If you want to read the story, which is a literal goddamn novel, go watch the Internet Historian Trilogy instead, please. I cannot do the story justice. It is fucking ass, it's funny, it's really goddamn long. I've always wanted to finish The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, but I could never find the Kokiri sword while playing on my dad's Wii. Because of this, I didn't play the game for about 2 years. When my 13th birthday finally came around, I asked my dad to get me the game for my 3DS. As soon as I discovered the Sheikah Stone and found the sword, I loved the game. I beat the game with 16 hearts, 3 bottles, and most of the gold Skulltulas. I unlocked Master Quest and immediately started playing it. I got to the point where Zelda and Impa are escaping on a horse, and Zelda throws me the Ocarina of Time. I didn't notice it then, but Ganondorf didn't ride by on his horse. I walked over to the water, dove down to get the Ocarina, and got on the drawbridge. That's where it happened. Ganondorf ran by on his horse, taking the Ocarina of Time and 3 spiritual stones from me. He sent a bolt of energy at me, sending me flying backwards. It showed Link lying there, clothes torn, and his mouth dripping blood. The next scene was Ganon, blasting Zelda's horse, turning it into bones. Ganon grabbed Zelda, killed Impa, and brought Zelda back over to me. She was crying her eyes out. Ganon held her by the throat, and said to both of us, "You will not thwart my plans again, children. I learned from my mistakes. The mirroring of this land has given me a second chance, and now I will destroy Hyrule." He tied a rope around Zelda's neck and dragged her into Hyrule Town behind her horse, her screaming and leaving a trail of blood behind. I was finally able to control Link again, but it was stuck in first-person view, and there was blood on the screen like in Call of Duty. I was able to walk slowly so I could try to get away, but Navi just said,
"We need to save the princess from that horrible man. We can't just leave her."
I entered Hyrule Town and I looked over at where the guards should be. All that was left was a rotting corpse. I tried to get into the room, but text popped up saying, "There is the smell of death coming from the room. You probably shouldn't open it. Going anyway? I stupidly said yes. I walked into the room and there were rotting corpses of guards everywhere. I thought I could smell them. And then I realized something. I could smell them? I ran into the Temple of Time. I went inside and I saw Zelda's body, decapitated and burnt into a crisp. Link automatically ran over to her, tears streaming across his face. He looked up and the doors of time were open. He ran in and saw Ganon holding the Triforce. The whole thing. He grabbed the Master Sword, ripped it from its pedestal, which should have been impossible, and shattered it. He turned towards me, and he pulled Navi to him. He held her, then crushed her, blood and golden light spilling on the floor. I threw up. He then pulled Link towards him, and blasted his head off his body. The screen cut to saying, "Game over. Ganon destroyed Hyrule." This is the best pasta on the whole wiki! Don't read the rest because the rest is not as creepy as this. Scientific studies prove this. This is true. This is the story of a day where there was all this blood. A man was walking around and blood started coming out of him everywhere. There was so much blood that it filled up an elevator. He went to the store and there was just blood all over the place. Blood was slipping in and they were all grossed out. He tried to go swimming and all the sharks went nuts and bitten everybody. He got chased by all the vampires ever. One time the blood got a kid and a dog. At the end of the day, everyone decided they would send him to space so that he would stop getting blood everywhere. The scariest part is that the man was you. Or he was a lady if you are a lady and you forgot that this happened. I used to love the movie Frozen. I had a collection of Frozen toys and I had the movie on DVD as well. I don't look at Frozen the same way again because there was a deleted scene in the movie that Disney removed. It all started when I wanted to watch Frozen again, so I popped the disc in and I was watching the movie for a little while, but all of a sudden, static appeared on the screen, and then I saw a different scene instead of the other one, and this is how it started. It had Elsa, but she was disembodied. There was blood all over the ice castle. When I saw that, I had a shocked look at myself, so I thought I just saw something, but no. I then saw Anna crying, and she was crying for a long time, and that's when I was getting bored. But then the scene stopped and Anna got Elsa's head and buried it in the snow so she could hide the evidence, and then Anna came into town and killed everybody in the town just in case, and gore was everywhere and Anna had blood all over her body and people's entrails were spilled onto the walls. Then Olaf came along and saw this, so Olaf got out a chainsaw and killed Anna, and blood was everywhere, so then Olaf was the last person and he lived it on, and that's when the end was on the screen, meaning it was an alternative ending. But then static came on the screen and it came back to regular Frozen, so then I got out a baseball bat and destroyed my TV, and I destroyed almost everything in my house. I also threw away everything related to Frozen in my house, and I cut off my own arm, but then my TV turned on one last time while it was broken, and it showed a hyper-realistic Olaf staring directly at me, and then I died after that, and my life has ended. Once upon a cliche morning, Morgan Freeman was doing voice acting for another goddamn motherfucking Hillary Clinton propaganda advertisement. He was in his private studio, in his private home, in his private city, in his private country, in his private continent, just off the West Coast. "Hi, I'm Morgan Freeman," he said in his holy voice. "Vote Hillary Clinton for your Democratic nominee." After that disgustingly bad statement, Morgan Freeman's mic turned off and he turned to leave. Just then, one of the following mystery suspects became a MacGuffin for the story. Suspect 1. A purple dinosaur that goes by the innocent name of Barney, as a lure to molest and feed children to his 26,877,301,842 bobbleheads. Suspect 2. an angry Donald Trump endorser named Klein, who was the brother of one of the women Bill Clinton had definitely did not have sexual relations with. Suspect 3, an angry 9-year-old who got his ass handed to him in Counter-Strike by Morgan Freeman. Whoever did it, the MacGuffin tackled Morgan Freeman to the ground and cut open his neck, ripping out his vocal cords and sprinting off. Morgan Freeman gasped for air and attempted to call his good friend Samuel L. Jackson into the room because I needed my good black actors to be living in the same house, goddammit. Some fucker had just taken off with Morgan Freeman's vocal cords. The world was now in peril. Everyone had loved Morgan Freeman's God voice, and it was now gone. Protesters marched on Washington, New York, Los Angeles, and whatever obscure town you want to name in Nevada. There's more than just Vegas, you know. You know what the world needed? The world needed a leader. In the state of Colorado that is only known for weed, Tristan the fat ass would have to make his angry autistic roars be heard again.
Okay, so the rest of the story goes down to shit as Tristan fights Hillary Clinton in authoritarian California, where liberals have taken over society and the GOP are executed. Clinton was put into custody and Morgan Freeman's vocals were returned to him, bringing peace to the world along with making Ben Carson the new US president.
You may not proceed to imagine a cat dry humping Daniel's white vans. It's funny because it's random. Ahahaha. The story you're about to read is 100% legit. I said so because I said so. Fuck you. My name is Nunya Business. I am just your average
0.10 trillion 239 million 24 million 202,012
year-old girl who is obsessed with Hell's Kitchen. My only goal in life is to make it on Hell's Kitchen. To achieve this goal, I have prayed to the almighty God known as Gordon Ramsay every night, hoping that he will one day hear my pleads. One night, I was sitting in my room, praying to my Lord and Savior as usual, when all of a sudden, my sister barged into my room.
Nunya, what the fuck do you think you're doing?
I heard her yell at me.
Go away! Can't you see I'm trying to concentrate?
Concentrate on what? Being absolutely delusional?
I grit my teeth in frustration.
I am not delusional, you asshat.
I then proceed to throw my rubber dildo at her face. I probably shouldn't have done that because that just made her even more pissed off than before. I watched in horror as she walked over to my Hell's Kitchen DVD collection and stepped all over them with her Bigfoot feet. My heart sank all the way to my ass. It took me approximately 69 years to get the full set of that glorious television show, and now all that work had been wasted.
It's time for you to get a reality check,
she stated as she grabbed my arm and dragged me towards the door. However, I felt my soul within me resonate with a powerful desire for Hell's Kitchen. It was then I felt the presence of Gordon Ramsay behind me.
No, I think it's time for you to get a reality check,
the almighty Gordon proclaimed. My sister gasped a shocked gasp and got killed by the shock.
Damn it, Gordon. You didn't have to scare my sister like that.
I scolded him.
What's sorry, fam?
He apologized. Holy shit. He had finally came to me. I was eternally screaming inside. Alas, that eternal screaming ended when I took a moment to analyze Gordon Ramsay's appearance. For some reason, he was wearing a Peter Pan outfit. To be honest, he looked fucking stupid wearing it, but I didn't care. He is my Lord and Savior after all.
So, you've heard my pleads, right?
I asked my God.
Well, dumbass. Why else would I be here right now?
My heart was going doki doki, even though it was stuck inside of my ass.
Now, come with me. We have some business to attend to.
He grabbed my arm, which caused me to have a Vietnam flashback that Jinx would be proud of. Gordon quickly released it and instead took hold of my leg. We flew out of the window and towards the set of Hell's Kitchen. When we were at the set, my heart was at maximum percentage of doki doki. At long last, my dream had come true. I looked around my surroundings and saw a bunch of contestants standing in the far end corner. They looked like a bunch of filthy casuals. Gordon came to us while carrying a podium and slammed that son of a bitch down to the ground. He then adjusted the mic so that it was about
0.10 trillion 239 million 24 million 202,012
inches away from his greasy chapped lips. He began to speak.
Now he goes, welcome to Hell's Kitchen. It's me, Gordon Ramsay, and this ain't no ordinary Hell's Kitchen. It's a special kind of Hell's Kitchen.
I didn't think my heart could go past the maximum amount of Doki Doki-ness, but I was proven wrong. I was not only on Hell's Kitchen, but I was only special edition of Hell's Kitchen. Fuck yeah.
Colleague, you guys are gonna be cooking some steak today, but not just any kind of steak. You see, I've decided to take the name of my show literally, and have retrieved the steak from the very depths of hell itself.
Everyone in the room gasped a mighty gasp. He then disappeared into thin air. I ran to the steak and picked it up MLG style, then went over to the stove and shoved the damn thing inside of it. It was at that moment when I had a sudden thought.
I wonder what would happen if I overcooked the steak.
I thoughted. I turned up the heat and waited for the steak to be overcooked. Little did I know, that would be the worst mistake I would ever commit. When the steak was done overcooking, I took it out and waited even longer for Gordon Ramsay to come back. Gordon Ramsay returned at last. He took a long and hard look at the steak.
Hey, which one of you bloody toss overcooked this steak?
I felt guilty for what I had done, but I couldn't lie to my Lord and Savior, so I told him the truth.
I'm sorry, my lord. I let curiosity get the best of me.
Gordon stood there for about 1,337.420 nanoseconds until he finally screamed.
Do you realize what you've just done? You've done us all!
I was confused for a moment until I looked at the steak.
Oh shit!
The steak was bleeding blood red, and it looked extremely hyper-realistic. A dark red anal aura formed around the steak, and a face began to form on it. It was the face of Satan. You fools, you have allowed me to gain access to the mortal world, and now I shall curse you all. Satan struck Gordon Ramsay first with a curse, and Gordon Ramsay fell to the floor, slowly dying. I ran to my god's aid as he was coughing up immense amounts of hyper-realistic bloods. His eyes wearily locked with mine. He choked.
When will you learn? When will you learn that your actions have consequence?
Gordon was now dead. Gordon is now dead. Time for you to die too. I felt my soul resonate again, but this time I felt extreme edginess within me. There was a presence behind me. I looked behind me, Shadow the Hedgehog. Don't worry, my edgelord in training. I shall help you avenge your fallen comrade. I gave him a firm nod and we both pulled out an infinite amount of knives and flung them at Satan. Little did we know, we were about to get wrecked. Satan fucking eradicated our assholes with steak grease, and we were transported into another dimension. I woke up later in a strange dark room. My asshole hurt like hell, but at least my heart was back in my chest. I noticed that I was standing on something, so I got up and took a look at it. It was Shadow, but he was killed. I took a minute, pressing F to pay my respects. I started crying tears uncontrollably. When the wall started oozing blood, I went into the fetal position. This went on for what had seemed like hours, until I heard a very loud poof sound. I got out of the fetal position and noticed that there was a door right in front of me. I quickly got up and opened it, quickly regretting my choice. Inside, there were skeleton penises floating everywhere. The skeleton penises noticed me and started shooting hyper-realistic jizz all over the place. I slowly closed the door and snapped my neck, thus killing myself. However, I wasn't truly dead. I heard a voice call out to me. I recognized that voice anywhere.
Satan, it's time to end this!
It was Gordon Ramsay. He wasn't dead after all? But wait, why did he call me Satan? I looked down at my body. My body was an overcooked steak. Oh fuck. I was Satan the whole time.
Gordon, I
began, but he cut me off.
I shall avenge on you!
Gordon shooted me in the head, and I was deathed. But the scariest part about all of this is that I actually wasted hours of my life writing this shit.
What the fuck? What the fuck is this?